I didn't swipe on her. That's the first thing I have to make clear. I didn't choose her photo, I didn't read her bio, and I definitely didn't send that first message that started everything.
Seriously,
My
this
best
is the
friend
best
did.
afternoon I've
My
had
name
in
is Ethan
ages.
Blake.
I'm
I'm
so
29,
glad we finally did
live
this.
in Denver, and I work as a software support guy for a mid-sized company downtown. I spend most of my day fixing login problems and explaining the same 3 things over and over to people who swear they didn't change anything. I'm not the crazy party type. I don't go out every weekend. I don't collect X's like baseball cards. I'm more of the pizza, hoodie, and Netflix after work kind of guy. Stable. Predictable. The kind of guy people come to when they need help moving a couch or setting up their Wi-Fi, which is exactly why my friends decided I was in a dating slump and needed help. It happened on a Friday night at my apartment. My friend Tyler and his girlfriend Jess came over with takeout and beer. We were sitting on my worn-out couch, some game on the TV that none of us were really watching, when Jess spotted my phone on the coffee table. "Ethan," she said, picking it up, "why do you have a dating app if you're never on it? You haven't opened this in weeks." "Because it's a waste of time," I said, reaching for my food. "I match with bots, people who want clout, or girls who ghost after 3 messages. I'd rather not bother." Tyler grinned. "That's because you don't know how to use it. You swipe like a nervous dad. Let us help." "I'm good," I said. Jess ignored me, already unlocking my phone because she knew my passcode. "Here's what we're going to do," she said. "Ty and I get one night with your profile. If we can't find you something promising, we'll never touch it again." "That sounds like a terrible idea," I said. Tyler leaned forward. "Come on, man. You haven't had a real date in, 8 months? Quote. 6. I said automatically. They both looked at me. "Okay," I sighed. "Whatever, one night, but nothing weird." And no sending messages like, "You're me," but actually you. Quote. Jess smiled like a villain in a movie. No promises. I should have grabbed my phone right there. Instead, I let them scroll through my matches while I went to get more drinks from the kitchen. From the fridge, I could hear Jess narrating. "Ooh, she's cute, but her bio says, 'No boring, guys.' That's a pass, because we're honest here." "Wow," Tyler said. "This one has a picture with a tiger." "That's a red flag." They laughed. I shook my head, but I was smiling too. It felt harmless. By the time I came back to the couch, Jess's eyes were wide. "Okay, I found her," she said. "She's perfect for you." I sat down. Let me see. On my screen was a woman with dark brown hair that fell past her shoulders in loose waves. She wasn't overly posed. No filters, no big dramatic angles. The first photo was her in a gray hoodie at what looked like a coffee shop, laughing with her eyes half closed. Her name was Lauren. 30. Denver. The second photo was her at a park with a big golden dog, both of them squinting into the sun. The third was just her hands holding a sketchbook. I scrolled to her bio. Graphic designer, coffee addict, serial overthinker. I like long walks through Target, thunderstorms, and people who ask real questions instead of YD. I don't want something casual. I want something honest. I felt something shift in my chest. "She seems normal," I said. "Normal and hot," Tyler added. Jess grinned. "And she matched with you while your profile was sitting here collecting dust, so you're welcome." "You swiped?" I asked. Jess lifted her chin. "I did." "And she matched right away. That means she swiped on you first. This is fate, my guy." I stared at Lauren's picture, at the little green dot that said she'd been active recently. "What did you send her?" I asked carefully. Jess bit her lip. "Jess," I said. "Relax," she said. "I just wrote, 'I like the way you wrote your bio. You sound like someone worth knowing.'" Quote. "That sounds like me," I said reluctantly. "Because I've known you for 7 years," she said. Now the ball's in her court. We made a bet just to make it fun. Tyler said I wouldn't last an hour talking to her before either ghosting or getting ghosted. Jess said we'd talk at least 3 days. I said it wouldn't go anywhere at all. We shook hands. Loser had to buy the others dinner at the expensive taco place downtown. Then we forgot about it and finished the night with bad jokes and video games. I didn't think about Lauren again until the next morning. Saturday, 9:12 a.m. My phone buzzed while I was half asleep, face down in my pillow. I reached over, grabbed it, and saw the notification from the dating app. New message from Lauren. My heart thumped once, hard, in my chest. I opened the app. "I like the way you wrote your bio," she'd replied. "You sound like someone who actually thinks before he types. That's rare on here." I threw the blanket off and sat up. My bio, I read it again, just to remember what she meant. 29, support guy for a software company. I fix things when they break, especially people's forgotten passwords and terrible moods. I like simple stuff, good coffee, late-night drives, honest conversations. Not perfect, but I always show up when it counts. I forgot Jess had helped me rewrite that months ago. I stared at the blinking cursor in the chat box. This was the moment where I usually ruined it. Either I overthought my reply for an hour and sent something stiff and weird, or I sent a joke that didn't land, or I got distracted and replied 3 days later when the vibe was gone. But this time I remembered the bet. I typed, "Thinking before typing is my main personality trait." That, and losing my friends, house keys. "What's been the best part of your week so far?" I hovered over send for a full second. Then I hit the button. She didn't reply right away. I got up, made coffee, and tried to act like I hadn't just jumped into something I'd promised myself I was done with. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. "Best part of my week," she wrote. "A client actually liked my first draft design and didn't ask for 17 changes. You?" I smiled. It felt easy. For the rest of the morning, we traded messages. Short ones at first. Work stuff. Favorite coffee orders. The fact that we both secretly judged people who said they didn't like music. Somewhere around noon, it stopped feeling like a bet and started feeling like something else. Something that made my stomach twist in a way I hadn't felt since my last real relationship. Around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, she sent, "Okay, I have a question that will tell me everything I need to know about you." "Dangerous," I replied. "Go ahead." "What do you do when someone you care about calls you at 2 a.m. crying?" she wrote. "Even if you have work in the morning." I didn't even have to think about it. I typed, then I grabbed my keys. There was a pause, longer this time. For a second, I thought maybe I'd said too much. Maybe I'd scared her off. Then she replied. "Okay," she wrote. "Now I really want to meet you." My heart skipped. We picked a place that felt neutral and safe. A small coffee shop downtown that stayed open late. She said she liked the way the lights looked at night. I said I liked any place with outlets and chairs that didn't hurt your back. We agreed to meet at 8:30 p.m. Tyler texted me when I told him. "Remember our bet," he wrote. "Bet you don't last an hour." "Watch me," I replied. I showed up 10 minutes early because that's what I do. I spent those 10 minutes worrying that she'd walk in, take one look at me, and walk back out. At exactly 8:32, the door opened, and she walked in. Lauren. Same dark hair from the photos, half up, half down. Dark green jacket over a white shirt. Jeans. Boots. No dramatic makeup. Just her. She looked around, then saw me and smiled. It hit me like a warm wave. "Ethan?" she asked. I stood up too fast and almost knocked over my chair. "That's me," I said. When she got to the table, I expected a quick, polite hug or just an awkward wave. Instead, she stepped in and gave me a real hug. Not long, not weird. Just warm, solid, like we already knew each other a little. She smelled like vanilla and something else I couldn't place. We sat down. For a second, there was that first date silence, the one where two people both think the same thought. "Is this gonna be awful?" She broke it with a small laugh. "Okay," she said. "First important question, did you actually write your own bio or did a friend do it for you?" I blinked. I could have lied. Could have said I wrote every word. But something about her eyes made me tell the truth. "My friend helped," I admitted. "But it still sounds like me. Does that disqualify me?" She shook her head slowly, smiling. "No, it makes you honest. That's a good start." The nervous knot in my chest loosened a little. We started talking. 1 hour passed, then 2. The barista started stacking chairs on tables around us. The lights dimmed even more. The coffee shop slowly emptied until it was just us, and one tired guy wiping the counter. I'd completely forgotten about Tyler's bet. Somewhere around midnight, Lauren looked down at her phone and laughed in disbelief. "Oh my God," she said. "We've been here for almost 4 hours." I checked my own phone. 12:17 a.m. "It doesn't feel like it," I said. She looked at me differently then, softer. Like she was seeing something new. "You know what's crazy?" she said quietly. "I matched with you as a joke on my friend's phone." She grabbed it and just started swiping. I didn't think anything would come of it. My eyes widened. "Wait, that's exactly what happened on my end, too." Her mouth fell open. For a moment, we just stared at each other, both realizing we'd been pushed together by people who thought they were being funny. Then she smiled, something almost shy in it. "I don't know why," Lauren said, her voice dropping a little, "but I feel safe with you, and that hasn't happened in a long time." My heartbeat stumbled. That was the exact moment I knew this wasn't a joke anymore. And this night, which started as a bet between friends, was about to change both of our lives in ways we couldn't see yet. When she said those words, it felt like the whole coffee shop got quieter, even though the music was still playing and the barista was still moving plates around. "I feel safe with you." I did not know what to say at first. I was not used to being that for someone. Useful, sure. Reliable, yes. Safe, though. That sounded bigger. "Thank you," I said finally. It felt small compared to what she had just given me, but it was honest. "That means a lot." She looked almost embarrassed, like she wished she could grab the words and pull them back. "Sorry," she said. "That sounded weird, right?" Too intense. I tend to overshare and then regret everything later. "It did not sound weird," I said. "It sounded real." Her shoulders dropped a little. Some of the tension left her face. "Okay," she said. "Good. Because I promised myself I would stop dating people who feel exciting but never safe. I am trying something different." The barista walked over and cleared his throat in a polite way. "Hey guys," he said. "We close in like 10 minutes. You are welcome to stay while I mop, but just a heads up." "We should probably go," Lauren said, glancing at me, "before they throw us out." We stood and both reached for the same empty cup. Our fingers bumped. It was a small thing, but my brain decided to notice every detail. How warm her hand was, the tiny scar on her knuckle, the way she pulled back with a quick smile. Outside, the air was cooler than it had been when we came in. The street was quiet, just a few cars passing and a couple walking a dog on the opposite sidewalk. City lights reflected off parked cars. "That was fast," she said, looking up at the sky. 4 hours gone." "I would say we beat the bet," I said. She turned to me. "What bet?" I hesitated. It would have been easier to lie, but being honest had made the night go well so far. I decided not to change that now. "My friends saw your profile last night," I said. "They said I would not last an hour talking to you. Said you looked like someone who did not suffer fools." Her eyebrows went up. "They said that?" "In a respectful way," I added quickly. "Like, she seems really smart and intense. Ethan panics around women who know what they want. They thought I would say something dumb and you would get bored." She stared at me for a second, then started laughing. Not a polite little laugh. A real one that bent her over a little and made her wrap her arms around herself. "That is so funny," she said, "because my friend grabbed my phone and swiped on you as a joke. She said you looked like someone who would be too nice for me, that I would steamroll you." "That is fair," I said. "People say I am nice a lot, usually with that exact tone." "Like it is a compliment and an insult at the same time," she said. "Exactly." We stood there on the sidewalk, laughing about how our friends had set us up thinking it would be funny. Somehow, knowing the whole story made everything feel lighter. "So we are both here because our friends were messing with us," I said. "And because we both decided to show up anyway," she added. "That part matters more to me." There was a small pause. Not awkward this time, just full. "Do you need a ride home?" I asked. "Or did you drive?" She lifted her keys. They dangled from a keychain shaped like a tiny paint palette. "I drove," she said. "And before you ask, I am fine to drive. Only one latte, No wine tonight." "Good," I said. I was prepared to offer my very safe services as a highly responsible driver. Quote, she smiled at that, then looked down at the ground for a second like she was debating something. "Can we walk for a few minutes?" she asked. "I am not quite ready to go home yet." "Sure," I said. "There is a park 2 blocks over. It is quiet this time of night." We fell into step beside each other. Our shoulders almost brushed now and then. The city felt different at night. Softer, like it had taken a deep breath and let the tension go. "So," she said, "what is your deal, Ethan? Why has it been 6 months since your last real date?" I sighed. "You really go straight for the center, don't you?" "I am a designer," she said. "I prefer clean lines. No clutter." I thought about giving her the short version, the one I gave people when I did not want to get into it. We grew apart. Timing was bad, all the usual lines. But she had been honest with me. It felt right to give her more. "I was with someone for 3 years," I said. "We met in college, got serious fast. She used to say I was the calm to her chaos. I thought that was a good thing." "Was it not?" Lauren asked. "In the beginning," I said. "Later it started to feel like what she really meant was I would clean up the messes and forgive everything. When she was overwhelmed, she called me. When she needed money, she called me. When she needed help moving, a ride, a favor, I was the first person she thought of. But when I needed her, she was busy." Lauren was quiet, listening like she had in the chat, not jumping in, not trying to fix it, just waiting for more. "I stayed too long," I admitted. "I kept thinking if I was more patient, more understanding, she would show up for me the way I did for her. By the time I realized she never would, I had forgotten how to want anything for myself." "What happened?" Lauren asked softly. "She met someone else," I said. "Someone who was more exciting. She told me I was a good man and that I would make a great husband someday, just not hers." Lauren winced. "Ouch." "Yeah," I said. "After that, dating apps felt like a game where everyone was pretending they did not care who got hurt, so I stopped trying." We turned the corner into the park. The street lights cast pools of yellow on the empty path. A single bench sat under a tree. We walked toward it. "I am sorry," she said. "Not in the poor you way." In the way that says that must have been really heavy to carry alone. "Thank you," I said. "What about you? Why does feeling safe matter so much?" She let out a slow breath. "I have dated 3 kinds of men," she said, "the charming ones who vanish, the broken ones who want me to fix them, and the ones who think being louder than everyone else makes them interesting." "No steady ones?" I asked. She smiled a little. "No steady men turn into projects too. Or they decide, I am too much. Too opinionated, too emotional, too focused on my work, too everything." We reached the bench and sat down. The wood was cool through my jeans. "I was engaged once," she said suddenly. My head turned. "You were?" "Yeah," she said. "When I was 26. His name was Ryan. He was nice on paper. Good job, good family. Everyone loved him. He said all the right things, did all the right things. We had a date set, a dress, deposits paid." Quote, "What happened?" I asked. She stared straight ahead, eyes on nothing I could see. "He had a temper," she said quietly. "Not all the time. Just when life did not go the way he thought it should. At first it was just slammed doors, sharp words, long sulks. Then one night he grabbed my wrist during an argument. Hard enough to leave bruises. Anger flared up in my chest. I clenched my hands without meaning to. I told myself it was a one-time thing," she continued, "that he was stressed, that it was my fault for pushing him. I almost married him anyway. That is the scary part." "What changed?" I asked. "My friend called me," she said. "She said, if your little sister told you her fiancé did that, what would you tell her to do?" I knew the answer. I just did not want it to be my answer. "So you left," I said. "I left everything," she said. "The apartment, the wedding, the life I thought I was supposed to want. I moved into a tiny studio and started over, alone. It was the hardest and best thing I ever did." She looked at me then, eyes bright. "So yeah," she said, "feeling safe matters to me. A lot. Not just physically, emotionally too. I need to know I can relax around someone. that I do not have to watch every word or step. I nodded slowly. That makes sense, I said. You are allowed to want that. She watched my face like she was checking for any hint of judgment. What about you? She asked. What do you want now, really? I thought about it. The easy answer would have been something real. Everyone says that. I wanted to be more specific. I want a life that does not feel like I am always waiting for the other person to decide how much I matter, I said. I want to be chosen on purpose, not as a safe backup plan. She swallowed hard, like the words knocked into something inside her. The park was quiet. A car passed in the distance. Somewhere, a dog barked once and stopped. I like the way you answer questions, she said finally. Most guys I meet dodge them. You actually say things. Occupational hazard, I said. I solve problems for a living. I am trying not to let that bleed into relationships, though. Quote, Trust me, I am not looking for someone to fix my life, she said. Just someone who is not afraid to be in it. We sat there for a while, talking about lighter things, childhood stories, favorite movies, the best and worst road trips we had ever taken. Eventually, cold crept into the air. Lauren rubbed her hands together and shivered. I should probably head home, she said. My dog will think I have abandoned him. You have a dog, and you did not lead with that, I said. I feel betrayed. She laughed. His name is Milo. He is very dramatic and will probably punish me by ignoring me for 10 minutes when I walk in. We got up and started back toward the street. Can I see you again? I asked. The words came out before I could second-guess them. She looked up at me. For a heartbeat, something flickered in her eyes. Not rejection. Not exactly fear. More like surprise mixed with caution. Yes, she said slowly. I would like that. My chest loosened. Next time I will pick the place, she added. So you can judge my taste the way I judged yours. Deal, I said. We stopped at the corner where we had to split in different directions to get to our cars. The streetlight above us hummed softly. I am glad your friend stole your phone, I said. I am glad your friend did too, she replied. There was a small pause. The kind where it feels like there is a line on the ground, and you both know it, but neither of you wants to step wrong. Good night, Ethan, she said. Good night, Lauren, I replied. She hesitated for half a second, then stepped in and gave me another hug, longer this time. Her cheek pressed against my chest for one brief moment. I could feel the steady beat of my own heart punching against my ribs. When she pulled back, she looked up at me and said something so simple it stayed with me all the way home. Thank you for making tonight feel easy, she said. That is rare for me. She walked away then, keys in hand, her steps confident but not rushed. I watched until she reached her car and got in. Only then did I turn and head for my own. On the drive home, I could still hear her voice in my head. I feel safe with you. It scared me a little. That kind of trust is a big thing to hold. But under the fear, there was something else growing. Hope. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a new message. From Lauren. So, it read. Turns out Milo punished me by sleeping on my feet all night. When are you free again? Just like that, a night that started as a joke on 2 different phones turned into something neither of us had planned. And somewhere deep down, I knew this was not going to be just a couple of dates. Something had already shifted. We just did not know yet how much everything was going to change. We did not wait long for a second date. That same week, we saw each other twice. On Wednesday, she picked a place near her side of town. It was a small independent bookstore with a coffee bar in the back. When I walked in, she was sitting on the floor in one of the aisles, reading the back of a paperback. I like your taste in meeting spots, I said. She looked up and smiled. Low noise, good coffee, and shelves full of escape routes. It is perfect. Quote, we spent 2 hours wandering through the aisles, pulling random books and handing them to each other. We judged each other's choices in a playful way. She teased me for liking sci-fi covers with spaceships. I teased her for owning 3 different copies of the same poetry book because they feel different. Halfway through the night, she slid a thin paperback into my hands. This one, she said, this helped me a lot after my engagement ended. I looked at the cover. It was some kind of book about rebuilding after heartbreak. I opened my mouth to say something funny, but her face was serious. "You do not have to read it," she said quickly. "It is just, sometimes it helps to see your thoughts written by someone else. Makes you feel less crazy." "I will read it," I said. "Thank you for trusting me with it." We left when the owner flipped the sign to closed. Outside, under the streetlight, she touched my arm. "Do you notice something?" she asked. "What?" "You have not checked your phone once since you got here," she said. "Most guys I meet keep their phones on the table like they are waiting for something better to come along." I thought about it. She was right. My phone was in my pocket, silent. I had not even felt the need to look. "That is because I am not waiting for something better," I said. "I am here." Her eyes softened. "Careful," she said. "You are going to make it hard for me to go back to dating normal people." On Friday, she came to my side of town. I made dinner at my apartment, which made me more nervous than I expected. Cooking for someone feels personal. No hiding behind menus or waiters. While I was stirring sauce on the stove, there was a knock at my door. When I opened it, Lauren stood there holding a plant in a small white pot. "I brought you a housewarming gift," she said, "even though you have clearly lived here for a while." I looked at the plant. "This poor thing is going to die so fast." She stepped inside and handed it to me. "Not if you take care of it," she said. "Consider it practice." "For what?" I asked. She shrugged one shoulder. "For taking care of things that are alive and need you." She said it lightly, but it still landed somewhere deep in my chest. Dinner went better than I feared. I did not burn anything. She said my pasta sauce tasted like something from a restaurant, except better, because I can actually pronounce the ingredients. After we ate, we ended up on my couch. Milo, who had joined us for the night, snored on the rug with his legs up in the air like he had not a single care in the world. "You decorated this place yourself," she said, looking around. "Is it that obvious?" I asked. "It is not bad," she said. "Just very guy who buys what is on sale and calls it a day. That shelf is slightly crooked." I followed her gaze. The shelf over my TV was, in fact, crooked. "I did that on purpose," I said. "It is art." She laughed and leaned her head back against the couch. We talked about work again, about annoying clients, about coworkers. But soon the conversation drifted into heavier things. It always did with us. "What does safety feel like to you?" she asked suddenly. "Hard question," I said. "I know," she replied. "Answer anyway." I thought about it, staring at the coffee table. "Safety feels like this," I said slowly. "Knowing I can say the wrong thing and you will not use it to hurt me later. Knowing if I am quiet, you will not assume it means I do not care." Her eyes were on me. I could feel it even without looking at her. "What does it feel like to you?" I asked. She took a breath. "Safety is when I do not have to scan the room for exits," she said. "When I do not have to rehearse every sentence in my head before I say it. When I can make a mistake and not be afraid that someone will explode or shut down." She paused, then added very softly, "When I trust that if I fall apart, the person with me will not make it about them." I turned my head to look at her. "I am not going to explode on you," I said. "Not my style." "I know," she said. "How do you know?" I asked. She held my gaze, then gave a small, almost shy smile. "I do not know why," she said. "But I feel safe with you. My nervous system is weird. It usually freaks out around new people. With you, it feels like it can breathe." There it was again, the line that kept circling back. I wished I had something poetic or perfect to say in response. All I had was the truth. "I feel safe with you too," I said. "That is new for me." Her expression softened. She shifted closer on the couch until her shoulder touched mine. We sat like that for a while, not talking, not needing to. We could have stayed in that soft place forever, but real life does not work like that. The first crack showed up the next week when Tyler insisted on meeting her. He texted me on a Sunday. So, he wrote, "Is Miss I Feel Safe With You real, or did you invent her to win the bet?" "She is real," I typed back. "Then bring her to game night," he replied. "Jess wants to meet her. We both do." Game night was something we did every couple of weeks. A few friends, pizza, board games, bad jokes. It was easy with them, safe in a different way. The idea of mixing that comfort with something as new and important as Lauren made my stomach knot. I asked her anyway, only if I could sit next to you and do not get stuck with someone who explains rules for 20 minutes, she said. So Friday night, I walked into Tyler and Jess's apartment with Lauren beside me. Jess hugged her right away. Tyler shook her hand and gave me a look that was very, "I will be judging you later." We played some card game that involved lying. I could tell Lauren was nervous at first. She held her cards too tight. Her laugh was a little forced. But after a while, she relaxed. She made a dry joke that made Jess snort wine out of her nose. She beat all of us at 2 rounds and did a small victory dance in her chair. At one point, Jess leaned over to me in the kitchen while we got more drinks. "She is good for you," Jess said quietly. "You are standing up straighter." "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means you are not shrinking to make room for someone else," she said. "I like her." Later that night, after Lauren went home, Tyler pulled me aside. "You like her," he said. "Yes," I replied. Like, he pushed. "Yes," I said again. He studied me for a second, then nodded. "Okay," he said. "Then I owe you dinner. You smashed that 1-hour bet. But just be careful, man. People who have been hurt that much carry a lot. You sure you are ready for that?" "I am not sure about anything," I said, "except that I want to try." For a while, it almost felt too good. We fell into a rhythm. Texts in the morning, memes in the afternoon, calls at night. We saw each other 3, sometimes 4 times a week. We went to a small concert in the park. We walked Milo by the river. She brought her laptop to my place and worked while I did my own work, both of us in silence that did not feel empty. But good things have pressure points. They find them when you least expect it. Ours showed up on a night that started normal. It was a Thursday. I had a long day at work, full of calls with angry clients. By the time I got home, my head hurt. Lauren texted asking if she could come over for a bit, said she had rough news from a client who had canceled a big project. When she arrived, she looked tired. I met her at the door and hugged her tight. "I brought your plant," she said when we pulled apart. "Look, it is still alive. You must be magic." The plant had a new leaf. She smiled like that was a small victory we shared. We ordered food, put on a movie just for background noise, and curled up on the couch. At some point, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, then her face changed. "What is it?" I asked. She hesitated, then handed me the phone. It was a text from an unknown number, but I knew from the tone. "Ryan." I could not help reading the words. "Hey, heard you are seeing someone. Guess you finally got over me. Good for you. Just wanted to say I am sorry about how things ended." A simple message on the surface. But I saw the hook buried inside the words. "I should not have shown you that," Lauren said, taking the phone back and tossing it onto the coffee table like it burned. "I do not know why he is reaching out after all this time. Because he wants to feel like he still matters," I said. "That has nothing to do with you." She nodded, but her body had gone tight against mine, her shoulders up, her breath shallow. "You okay?" I asked softly. "I am fine," she said fast. She was not fine. She pulled away a little, sat more upright. Her eyes were distant now, not here, on my couch, far away in some old memory. "Lauren," I said, "talk to me, please." She shook her head. "It is stupid. I am over him. I do not want him back. I do not even really think about him. I just hate that one text can still do this to me." "Do what?" I asked. She swallowed. "Make me feel like I am about to get blamed for something," she said. "Make me feel like any minute now you are going to tell me I am too much trouble, too emotional, too stuck in the past." My chest hurt hearing that. "I am not going to say that," I said. "You do not know that," she said, her voice starting to rise. Every man who said he was different turned out to be the same. They all loved my strength until it got inconvenient. Loved my honesty until it showed them something they did not want to see. Loved my heart until it needed care. "Lauren," I said calmly, "look at me." She did, eyes shiny. "I am not them," I said. "I am not perfect. I will mess up. I will say the wrong thing sometimes. But I am not going to punish you for reacting to your own history. Your feelings are not a problem I need you to solve before I can love you." Tears slipped out of the corners of her eyes. She did not wipe them right away. "What if I fall apart?" she whispered. "What if I am not as strong as I pretend to be?" "Then I will sit with you while you fall apart," I said, "and I will still be here when you are ready to stand back up." She let out a shaky laugh that was half sob. "I do not know why," she said again, softer than before, "but everything in me believes you." She leaned back into me, this time not trying to hold herself together. I wrapped my arms around her and felt her shake as she cried into my shirt. It was not loud, not dramatic, just years of fear and tension leaking out. We stayed like that for a long time, the movie playing scenes we did not watch. The only thing that mattered in that moment was that she did not have to cry alone. That night was the first time she truly let me see her fall apart. It was the first time I understood that being someone's safe place is not about always knowing what to say. It is about staying. Even when old ghosts knock on the door. Even when their fear tells them to run before they get hurt again. I stayed. And somewhere inside all that fear and shaking, something between us grew roots. After that night on my couch, something between us shifted for real. It was not dramatic. There was no big speech the next morning. But the way she texted me changed. Less careful, less measured. The way she showed up changed too. Sometimes tired, sometimes grumpy, sometimes quiet. But she still came. She did not feel like she had to be around me anymore. A week later, I walked into her apartment on a rainy Tuesday and found her in sweatpants, hair in a messy bun, no makeup, sitting on the floor with takeout containers around her. "Rough day?" I asked, shutting the door. "The roughest," she said. "Client pushed a deadline forward. My boss forgot we agreed on the concept, and Milo stepped in paint and decorated the hallway." Quote, Milo trotted over with a faint blue tint still between his toes like proof. "I was going to cancel," she said. "My brain kept saying, you should not let him see you like this. You are not fun right now. You are not interesting." Quote, "And then?" I asked. She looked up at me with tired eyes. "And then I thought about how I felt on your couch last week," she said. "And I decided that if you only want the shiny version of me, then this is not real anyway." My chest got tight in a good way. "So I am getting the unfiltered version," I said. "I am honored." She snorted. "Congratulations. Your prize is cold noodles and a girlfriend who almost cried talking to her project manager today." "Wait," I said, my brain catching on one word. "Girlfriend?" She froze. Her eyes widened. "I did not mean to say that out loud. Forget I said that. Or pretend I said, this girl you are currently dating, instead." I walked across the room and sat down next to her on the floor. "Lauren," I said, "look at me." She did, nervous and hopeful all at once. "I like the word," I said. "Girlfriend, I want that. If you do—" She let out a breath she had been holding. "I do," she said. "I have been thinking of you that way for a while, but I did not want to be the first one to label it in case you freaked out." "I am not freaking out," I said. "Unless you count my heart punching my ribs as freaking out." She smiled, and that smile was better than any dinner at any restaurant. "Okay," she said. "So we are official now, for real. No bet, no joke match, no seeing where this goes. We are in it." "We are in it," I said. We clinked plastic takeout forks like glasses. The next test came from the outside world again one weekend when the group decided to plan a day trip. Tyler wanted to drive down to Cannon Beach on a Saturday. It was supposed to be simple. Sand, snacks, bad music in the car. He texted both of us, plus Jess and another couple. "My brain is already packing anxiety instead of clothes," Lauren said when she showed me the text. "We do not have to go," I said. "We can say we are busy." She shook her head. "No," she said. "Old me would bail and then sit home and scroll through pictures, feeling left out. New me wants to go. I just do not always know how to be social for that long without crashing." "We can have a signal," I suggested. "If you say you are going to get more water, I will follow, and we can take a minute away from everyone." Her mouth lifted at the corner. "You are dangerously close to perfect right now," she said. "It is concerning." "Trust me, I am very imperfect," I said. "You have not seen me parallel park on a hill yet." Saturday morning, we squeezed into Tyler's SUV. Lauren sat pressed against my side in the back seat, knees touching mine. She was quiet at first, listening more than talking. But as the trip went on, she opened up. She and Jess ended up in a long talk about small business clients. By the time we reached the coast, she was laughing freely. On the beach, the wind whipped our hair and clothes. We walked along the shoreline, our group spreading out. At one point, we fell behind, just the two of us walking near the water. "Thank you," she said suddenly. "For what?" I asked. "For telling me it was okay to need breaks," she said. "I took 2 little walks by myself earlier. Before, I would have thought that made me weird. Now I just think of it as a reset." "That is not weird," I said. "It is smart." She stopped walking, turned to face me, and looked at me in that steady way she did when she was about to say something important. "I love you," she said. The wind stole some of the sound, but not enough. I heard every syllable. I had imagined that moment a dozen different ways in my head. I always pictured candles, or a perfect night, or some dramatic scene. Instead, it was here. Hair in her face, sand in our shoes, our friends yelling about a frisbee somewhere behind us. And somehow, that made it better. "You do not have to say anything back," she rushed on. I did not plan to say it right now. It just jumped out of my mouth, and now I am very aware that my hands are shaking. I reached for her, taking both her hands in mine. "I love you too," I said, clear and calm, even though my insides felt like fireworks. "I have for a while. I am just slow with words sometimes." Her eyes filled with tears, but she smiled. "You are a copywriter who is slow with words," she said. "That is kind of adorable." We stood there, waves crashing a few feet away, and kissed. It was not our first kiss, but it was the first one after every wall came all the way down. Love did not fix everything overnight. It never does. There were still moments when her past showed up. A sharp tone from a stranger would make her flinch. A delayed text would send her brain spinning stories that had nothing to do with me. Sometimes she pulled away for a day, quiet and distant, but now she told me when it was happening. "Hey," she would say over the phone, "my brain is being mean today. It is telling me you are one bad day away from leaving. I know that is not fair, but I just need you to know what is going on inside my head." We learned how to talk through it, how to name the bad stories and replace them with real ones, how to take breaks without turning away from each other. I had my own stuff too. My old habit of shutting my needs to the back of the closet would show up. I would say, "It is fine," when it was not. I would agree to things I did not want because I was afraid of disappointing her. She caught it. "Ethan," she would say gently, "I am not your ex. I want you to tell me what you need. That is part of being safe for me too." Bit by bit, we built new patterns. Not perfect ones, real ones. About 6 months after we became official, I got a message in the group chat from Tyler. "Remember that bet," he wrote. About the girl Ethan would not last an hour with. Jess replied with a series of eye-roll emojis. "Yeah," I typed. "I remember." "Just wanted to say," Tyler wrote, "I am glad you proved me wrong. She is good for you. You are good for her. I was wrong about both of you." I showed the messages to Lauren later that night while we sat on her balcony with blankets over our legs and mugs of tea in our hands. She laughed. "I think we both had a lot of people who were wrong about us," she said. "And some who were right," I said, "about what we deserved." Quote, she leaned her head on my shoulder. "What do you think we deserve?" she asked. I thought about that for a moment. "Soft mornings," I said, "and honest nights. People who text back. People who show up. Love that is not about surviving each other, but about building something together." She hummed a little sound of agreement. "I could get used to that," she said. Months passed. We met each other's families. My mom cried when she saw how gently Lauren listened to her stories. Her little brother grilled me with 100 questions and then decided I was acceptable. Her dad watched me with the wary eyes of a man who had seen his daughter hurt and did not want to see it again. It took time, but when he saw that I did not flinch when Lauren got serious or emotional, he relaxed. One night, almost a year after our first date, Lauren and I ended up back at that same coffee shop where we met. The barista was new. The playlist was different, but the little round tables and the soft yellow lights were exactly the same. We sat in the same spot by the window. "Do you remember how nervous you were?" she asked, stirring her drink. "I was not that nervous." I lied. "You were gripping your cup like it was a life raft," she said, laughing. "But you still told me the truth about the bet." That impressed me. "You told me you felt safe with me," I said. That impressed me more. She went quiet for a second, then smiled in that soft way she reserved for rare moments. "I still do," she said. "I still do not know why exactly. It is not one big thing. It is 100 small things. The way you listen. The way you do not rush me. The way you do not punish me for having a history." She reached across the table and laced her fingers through mine. "I did not know this kind of love existed," she said. "Not the movie kind. The quiet kind. The one where sitting in a coffee shop with the same person a year later feels better than any wild story. The quiet kind is my favorite," I said. We finished our drinks and walked outside. The air was cool, the sky clear. Instead of going straight to our cars, we just started walking, like we had that first night. We ended up at the small park 2 blocks away, on the same bench where we had talked about safety and broken engagements and old scars. "Do you ever think about how weird it is that this started as a joke?" she asked. "All the time," I said. "Two bored friends with our phones, swiping on strangers. A bet. A dare." "And now," she said, looking up at the sky. "Now I am building a whole life around the person who showed up for that joke." We sat in silence for a while. Street lights cast circles of light on the path. A raccoon rustled in the bushes. Somewhere, someone's music played faintly from an open window. "Hey," she said suddenly. "What?" I asked. "Stay with me tonight," she said. Not because I am scared or lonely or upset. Just because I have had enough nights in my life where I felt unsafe in my own home. I like the version where I fall asleep and my brain is not waiting for something bad to happen. I looked at her, at the woman who had once been too afraid to show her unfiltered self and now was asking directly for what she needed. "I will stay," I said, "as long as you want me to." We walked back to our cars together, then rode in one. At her apartment, Milo greeted us like we had been gone for a week. We brushed our teeth side by side. We climbed into bed and lay facing each other in the dim light. "Ethan," she whispered. "Yeah," I said. "Thank you for proving my nervous system wrong," she said. "For teaching it that safe does not always mean boring. Sometimes it means real, consistent, steady." I smiled. "Thank you," I said, "for proving my friends wrong, for showing me that I am not too stable or too predictable. That the right person will call that safe and mean it as a compliment." We fell asleep like that. No drama, no storm. Just two people who had both been told they were somehow too much and not enough at the same time. Two people who matched on a screen as a joke and somehow found the exact thing they were both searching for. Someone to talk to until sunrise. Someone who stayed when the sun came up. Now, when people ask how we met, we can tell the funny version. The bet. The stolen phone. The K. App. But the real story is this. We matched as a joke. We stayed because, for the first time, safe did not feel like settling. Safe felt like home.